magazine, the daily guides. As I mentioned before, some people have aversions to certain words because it brings back memories from their childhood or from early in life. And one of those words is God, God. It doesn't have any major implications for me, and I can easily substitute other words for it, like the ground of all being, the spirit, the allness, all that is. But I know some people have an aversion to it. And if you're one of them, then today's reading contains the word God several times. Then just substitute whatever it is you want for it. You could even, substitute the quantum field if you like, although I'm not quite sure how that would fit in with this reading today. But you could pretty well substitute anything that you like that implies something that is beyond understanding, brought everything into being, and is infinite in every sense of the word. So the choice is yours, because the title is God's Unconditional Love. The first quote is from someone I'd never heard of called Bo Taplin, Beautapin. And apparently Bo Taplin is an author who's recognized worldwide, and he's a social media personality. He's a self-taught writer, and he wrote a collection of poems primarily concerning his own self-exploration and understanding, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Bo Taplin, there you are. So I got taught to research things both in my college days and also when I went through ministerial training and the Holmes program, which was kind of parallel with it, the Masters in Consciousness Studies program. So I research things. So I don't know somebody, I'm going to research them. And anyway, he said, self-love is an ocean and your heart is a vessel. Self-love is an ocean and your heart is a vessel. Make it full, and any excess shall spill over into the lives of the people you love. But you must fill it first. You must fill it first. Self-love. And this is Ernest Holmes. I've never heard of this particular thing of Holmes, The Spiritual Universe and You. That's on page 77, paragraph 2, at least in the version that Robert Michelle had. Here, in the integrity of our own soul, in the simplicity of our own heart, we can prove what the ages have longed for, lived for, and prayed for. That at last, though we have not known it, and the world has not suspected it, divinity has temporarily clothed itself in humanity. So in other words, there's nowhere where the divine ends and you begin, and there's nowhere where you end and the divine begins. That if the divine is all there is, then you are an expression of the divine, and therefore you are divine clothed in humanity. You're also divine clothed in a tree. You're the divine clothed in our felines that wander our house. Well, they're not wandering now. We have 3 indoor cats, and we have several we feed outside, primarily 2 of them, but then some others come. And guess what they're all doing now? The 3 inside are zonked out. The 2 outside are the back end of our yard, and they are under a chair, zonked out. So cats are extremely good at zonking out, but I'll tell you what else they're also good at. Probably really good at self-love. Anyway, so there we are. And this is Robert Michelle. If we knew God loved us, would it be easier to love ourselves? So often, our thoughts and ideas about ourselves obfuscate our perception of God's love, the divine's love. The stories we tell ourselves about what we have done that is unacceptable to God, or what we have not done that we should have done, cause us to create a narrative that we come to believe about how lovable we are to the divine. Yeah, and the implication here is that if something created everything that is out of itself, and if that something is unconditional love, then he cannot think and feel any other way towards what it created as other than unconditional love. And that's the implication here. And that what Reverend Michelle's saying is that if the divine truly loves us, that which brought us into being, albeit indirectly through our parents and so on, and evolution, whatever, then we have no right not to love ourselves, right? And she goes on to say, yet the true nature of the love that God is unconditional, flowing love to all, through all, as all. That means each of us is an expression of this love and has total access to it, no matter what. No mistakes or missteps can change the nature of this love. It is always flowing. We have no right to beat up on ourselves for what we've done. As we said in the past, we have the duty and the obligation to make amends if we've done something that's adversely impacted others. But we have no right, once we realize, we have no right to continue and not love ourselves. We don't love the things that we did in the past, which are not really lovable things, but we have no right, once we forgive ourselves, not to love ourselves. We might feel the resonance of this now if we pause and breathe deeply and feel this in our hearts. For it is our thoughts, our ideas of what makes us lovable or not. Our hearts speak the truth. Each day, if we take time to connect to our hearts and to reflect on and feel and court the presence of the love of the divine, we can fill our life. It is the light of the divine for us and as us. She says, contemplate the love that God is today. This love pouring through us allows us to be the living presence of the divine, which I believe is the main reason we are here. And I have reason to believe that the source of everything is unconditional love. If you've ever experienced really unconditional love, like love is the ground of all being, then you can never doubt that love is the foundation of everything. It doesn't always appear that way, and people don't always behave that way. But at the end of the day, I believe that we are expressions of this love. I remember a story. I don't remember the story exactly. I'm sure Reverend Jesse, my senior minister, who got his phenomenal memory for facts and figures and pulling names out of the air, will probably remember. But I remember reading the story. A young African-American boy was a pizza deliverer in part-time. And these people who were part of a gang had initiation rites. And as part of the initiation rites, one of the kids was told he had to kill somebody. So they ordered a pizza. When the guy came to deliver it, he got killed. Now the person who killed him was found, sent to jail, or prison, sorry. And I think it was his grandfather who went to visit it was a male relative, and I think it was his grandfather, went to visit the jail or the prison. Like, I get mixed up between jail and prison. The prison, to visit this boy who committed the murder, and told him he forgave him. And the young boy was so moved by this that when he was released from prison, he and the grandfather went round places, prisons, everywhere, talking about forgiveness and how the grandfather could forgive him, and how the young boy, was a bit older by then, of course, was able to accept that forgiveness and go out and talk to people to persuade them not to do what he'd done. So that to me is a great example of this in action. So the affirmation, my heart is open to feel the divine love that God is as me, and to give that love to myself and all others. My heart is open to feel the divine love that God is as me, and to give that love to myself and others. So there we are. That is your Sunday reading for today. So you have no right in future not to love yourself. And if that's hard, then try the thing that we've often suggested in the past, which is to go look in a mirror, look yourself right in the eye, and repeat a bunch of times, I love you, I love you, I love you. For most people, that's not easy the first time, at least not to do genuinely. But if you do it enough, you will be able to do it, and it will be genuine. So tune in to Reverend Lisa, my colleague, tomorrow morning at 9:15 Central Time. Tune in to me tomorrow evening, hopefully 5, assuming my mediation finishes on time. And apart from that, I'll be back whenever I am. And please have a great rest of Sunday. This is your Sunday. It is now 4:45 p.m. Let me say 16:45, whichever you choose to say, on a Sunday in Texas. So until next time, namaste.